Street meeting.
20 feet.
Could be cold out there.
We're rolling, guys.
Okay, we're on?
We're on.
Okay, welcome tonight to the Holly Village Parks meeting for February 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Cyclone. I call this meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Kyer, Peltonen, McCanny,
Here.
Hutchins,
Here.
Hamilton, Taylor,
Here.
DeSessa.
Here.
I would entertain a motion to excuse E.O. Pelton and Amber Kyer from tonight's meeting.
So move.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or deletions for the agenda?
Well, I'm just wondering about this discussion about Urban Community Forestry Grant Program, grant application. It's been on this agenda for the last, 8 months, and it's not even a point of discussion anymore.
No, we
because-
just keep it on there to keep us reminded that we're still working on it. Or
Okay.
it's coming up, because it's
Okay.
coming up in April, correct?
I believe it comes out in April or May.
Yes, so,
And
yeah.
then that one doesn't have to be until October. But there's one that I believe comes out in April or May, and it has to be in August, and that's the one with the large amount.
Yeah, that's why we're only, this is the February meeting, April's next month, that's why we keep it on here, just to keep
Okay.
it fresh in our heads.
Okay.
Anybody have any changes to the agenda?
Can I ask that we just have a quick discussion about the master plan, since we got the copies today? And would that be that we would add it to old business or general business?
That'd be the general business. Did you want to discuss that tonight, or?
Why
Yeah,
don't
just
we have
briefly.
But we could have a chance to look at it and discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah, we can put it on the
Okay.
agenda for next meeting, that way
Yeah.
everybody gets a chance to look at it. Because I
Okay.
think, Joe, you wanted it out so the new members had it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, that would probably be the best, so that way
Yeah.
they have a chance to look at it if there's
Yeah,
any
give them a
questions.
chance to get their.
Okay.
So we'll put it
I'll
on.
make my comment then under comments.
Okay,
So we want to, I entertain a motion to accept the agenda as submitted.
So move.
Support?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Approval of the minutes for January 8th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of January 8th.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Public comment not related to the agenda. You know the rest of the spiel, you get 4 minutes, we can add to it. Is there anybody like to speak, make public comment for anything that's not related to the agenda?
he's got a gag order, he can't talk.
Okay, hearing none, seeing none, moving right along. Old business. Discussion about the Urban Community Forestry Program grant applications. And I think Raisa already made a comment on that.
Right, and the one that's for $250,000 has a different name to it, but I don't remember right now what it is. Jane, do you were the one that was asking about, there's the one that's $250,000.
Right, no, I don't know the name of
Okay.
that one, but we will find out. We'll find out.
Okay, we'll be discussing that again next month.
Yep.
Discussion about fireworks committee for 4th of July and holidays.
Amber brought that up last meeting, and she's not here, but, I know there's been some concern about volunteerism and which groups are gonna participate in both holidays and 4th of July. So, I know September seems a long time off, and 4th of July does too, but they're really right around the corner, so, refresh my memory, because there's been a lot going on. Did this group decide on 2 people to be members of that last time?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
so,
Jane and I watched that council meeting, Amber and Daniel Wendell both volunteered to be representatives from council.
right, and then I don't know if DDA has brought it forward at their meeting, I'll check with Tim on that. But then we should probably look at getting everybody's email and scheduling meetings, just so chair people can be elected, and then look at getting volunteers in order, because I know there's a lot to both events, so.
Yeah, I would make a suggestion that right away we stop addressing it as the 4th of July. We start addressing it as Holly's Independence Day celebration in all of our publishings, just because
Because
of
it's
the-
moving this year, so we need to get the word
Okay.
out there, because it is the 3rd, it is on the 3rd this year, so,
And next year,
yes.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, can you elaborate on the groups that you think are not interested in being part of? Have you heard anything that,
I did hear a rumor that the DDA was not interested, but I know they don't have a chairman yet, and I know that they were heavily involved in the past, and I've made that known to Tim, our new village manager, so we need to get with Tim and April and probably Jerome and Linda, since they're the acting or interim DDA, and confirm that, so that either other arrangements can be made or whatever needs to be done, so that we continue with both these events.
yeah, they've been very active in the past.
Right.
And also, I've been really involved in that event. So just from just historically speaking, there are certain things that should have already been put into place and haven't happened yet because we haven't had this committee meet yet. Like, for instance, the stage hasn't been reserved. It's first come, first serve. If we miss the date, if it's books up, then we don't get the stage, which changes the layout of the event to some degree.
So would you be willing to spearhead this gathering of committees to get a meeting started on this?
Yeah, we need to,
You and Jane?
I can reach out to, yeah, I mean, if we're gonna
Just
have
tell me so.
well, if we're gonna have a holiday celebration, that's gotta get going. It's a lot more planning than the Independence Day celebration. Not that the Independence Day celebration can't grow and expand, but,
Yeah, we don't use the stage, and we don't have as many,
right.
we don't have as much civic participation as we do at holidays, so.
Right. But that's got its own new can of worms where it's changing dates, and that's, so a huge ad campaign needs to start for that.
Who contacts the county, I'm assuming, to get the stage?
In the past, the DDA has secured all of that. If it's true that they may possibly not be involved at all, then that's gonna change it quite a bit. So they've also been big financial backers too.
Okay. Wow.
So you two from our parks here are gonna get a hold of everybody and get a meeting going then?
Okay. I'll reach out to Linda, she's the board chair, right?
Yeah, her and Jerome are the interim co-chairs, or they're the chair and chairperson, but they're the interim co-directors also, so.
Okay.
Then we need a motion on this, or we just in agreement?
No,
No, if the consensus is the liaisons from this group are gonna reach out,
Yep.
and then if they just wanna copy staff, which would be Tim Price and myself, so that one of us are delegated, or just make sure that anything from the village end is covered also.
Okay.
Because there'll be special events, stuff that has to be taken care of, special event applications, and I know,
I think Tim Price has actually said that he would be on that committee too.
yeah, so, yeah, because I know he asked, there's been some emails exchanged for holidays and different things like that, so.
Okay,
Okay. We'll call.
Okay.
okay.
We can do it.
We got that
We can do
set.
it.
Okay, moving on to budget discussions. Everybody's supposed to be thinking about what's gonna happen, with our budget and stuff.
Yep,
Here's some thoughts coming up.
I know some of the major projects that are still out there are the gazebo at Ganshaw Park and
The bridge.
The bridge.
the bridge at Waterworks, and
Replacing the fencing at Lakeside.
replacing it or taking it down?
Well, we were replacing it with holly
Yeah,
bushes,
with holly
right?
bushes and
Yeah.
and landscaping rocks, yeah. So we can do another section there, but I mean, a lot of that is just the cost of the material for the rocks and the landscaping, so that's minimal compared, DPW usually takes a section down, so, I mean, we can usually do that in 1 or 2 days, so that's a very accomplishable
Yep.
endeavor, so.
All the holly bushes that were put in are now dead.
Yeah, those are, and we talked about replacing those, so.
Yeah, but they need to be watered after they get put in pretty heavily.
I hear volunteer.
I'll do it. I
No,
will do it.
no, and I will work, I have to
And she
work to see
will.
if our summer,
She will.
our seasonal help that, water before, if they're coming back, then we'll make sure that those are.
Well, we got hit by that big drought last summer too. That really
And it did.
So was there a warranty on those at all?
I'll have to find out because,
A lot of times there is.
Yeah.
1 year.
yeah,
When I
So-
put them in at my house, I water them a lot the first month, and then they seem to do just fine. I have some that have been out there for 25 years now.
well, we had a large one at the village, old.
Oh, it was
at Richter,
beautiful.
But
Yeah.
because there was a hydrant in
It's
the
so
middle of it, we
pretty.
couldn't get it moved, so.
No, I was just gonna ask a question. For this budget, we have a limit, right?
Yeah,
So is it 25,000 still?
for the current budget or the upcoming budget?
Yep. Well, this is the upcoming budget, right?
Yeah, this is the upcoming budget,
Okay.
and I'll have to get the exact number because it changed, because there was more money donated. And it's
Okay.
either 27 or 37,000 for fiscal year 25,
26?
or 24, 25, I believe was 27,000.
Yes.
But I don't know if there was more money added to that, and then I'll find out what the proposal will be for 25, 26.
Okay, so, all
Then that'll start July 1st.
right, so then my next question would be, since you all have mentioned 3 or 4 projects already, are these things that this board would like to continue those, or, make them one more priority? Then I'm all with that.
I think the ones we mentioned are our priorities that we set already.
Yeah, I think there may be enough money left to replace the holly bushes and do the section of fence out of this year's budget, which would end June 30th, and the bridge repairs at Waterworks. So next year's major project would be the gazebo.
The gazebo.
So there's been some talk that there's volunteers willing to donate some materials and time into that, so we just have to coordinate that along with, and come up with a concept that the parks will approve before we move forward with that. So,
Okay.
With the gazebo, how bad is the gazebo? Is it still safe? Is it?
yeah, it's still safe, it's just the handicap ramp was designed under old ADA standards. The material that was used it's just starting to deteriorate, it's still safe to use, but it needs a facelift is what. they're
Okay, so
looking at,
just in general.
Yeah.
We can paint.
Well, it definitely needs paint, I see.
Well, and that's what there was talk of using, long-term maintenance-free material, so there wasn't that need for consistent painting, that kind of stuff.
that would be nice.
And they didn't have that when they first, like Trex material for decking and that kind of stuff versus
Yep.
wood that you had to paint on a regular basis. But we want to make sure that we get the consensus of parks before we move forward and someone does anything, so.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to general business, SISMA plan discussion. In your packet, we have some information from SISMA about Ganshaw Park.
I'm a member of the DDA Design Committee, who we share. So we share jurisdiction with the DDA with some of our downtown properties. So Ganshaw Park, Crapo Park, and, is that it? Waterworks is not part of DDA.
Right.
It's just those two, right? So those two parks we share, responsibility over, so we try to, so we can pull from some of their resources for assistance with projects on that park, and they can pull for assistance with projects on the park with us, and we try to stay coordinated on that. So for that reason, I am part of the DDA Design Committee to try to keep the two coordinated. I went to the DDA Design meeting last month, and one of the things that came up was Ganshaw Park and moving forward with SISMA, and I told them that it was our understanding that we were still waiting to hear back from SISMA, and that we wanted to utilize SISMA if we could, but we hadn't heard back. Somebody who was present at that meeting, Danny Rasberg, said, there was an email sent to our DDA director. I don't know if they ever got a response back from him, because it was right around the time when he was resigning. So Danny was able to forward that email to me, and then I responded back. So what these papers are is just for the sake of transparency, so you guys knew what was going on. The email that they originally sent to our GDA director with the attachments of what they proposed should be done, what their suggestions were with that park. And then I reached out to them, explaining to them that we hadn't received the email, that person had been gone, and we would definitely like to move forward. What's our next step? So our next step is to meet with them in person and do a walkthrough on the 19th of this month, a winter walkthrough, and discuss what plans we may be able to do this summer, and then also apply for the grant that they have to see if we can receive their financial assistance and their labor assistance. Even if we can't receive their financial and labor assistance, they're still willing to consult with us. And so that's what we're gonna start in February. I was hoping, I know that the original email wasn't part of that, but the attachments did come in our packet. I was hoping you guys might have had a chance to take a look at that. And if anybody had any questions about the page that says Ganshaw Park recommendations with the photos.
Right.
Those were the recommendations that they thought we should really focus on in those parks, in that park. And then the other two attachments were tree species and plant species that they were making the suggestion that we add into that park once we take out the invasives. And just a reminder for anybody that doesn't remember it, SISMA that's what they focus on, is removal of invasive species and replacing them with native species. And we have a huge problem at that park of invasive species, so we could really use their help.
Yes, we picked Ganshaw because it was the worst one, the most visible and the worst one of a mile-long shoreline really. So that's why we picked Ganshaw, because it's nasty.
Yeah.
So we take the worst first. There they also be a piece of cake, because we still have Lakeside all the way to the boat ramp, and a little bit left of Waterworks, but we're gonna finish that up this spring.
So and Joe, we're both going to be there on the 19th. Anybody else is welcome to come, but are there any concerns or anything that you want brought up when we have this meeting? Brian is going to be present at the meeting, and then DDA will be present at the meeting, and then hopefully we can come up with some plan of attack once we'll come back with a plan, and then push it through. If the Parks Commission likes it, then we push it to council. If council likes it, then hopefully we can get some things done this year.
And I don't know if we want to invite Danny Rasberg, because he did some work at the park. He's the one who planted the trees, and he also has some equipment that we can use on the backside of.
Yeah, he's the one that did the bush hogging between the fence and the lake.
Yeah, and he only did a little bit, but this time of year, we could probably do a little bit more. So if he's there and has an understanding of what can be done, then we can get a price from him too to do that.
He's on the DDA Design Committee too now, so I think he was planning on being there.
Okay.
So anybody else like, Tim, you wanted to be there, 'cause
Yes, I was gonna
you're
ask if it would be
my-
okay if I showed up.
Yeah.
to
Of
course,
do-
me
I
too.
wanna learn about
Yeah.
this.
Just to get to know.
Where is
yeah.
this meeting?
Okay, let me tell you guys when we scheduled the meeting for. It's February 19th at 1 PM. It's anticipated to be about a 2-hour, an hour and a half meeting
And we're
at Ganshaw Park.
oh, okay.
Dress for the weather.
Well,
Really?
Who
just,
knows what I'll be at this.
just so we cover ourselves,
I'll
you
wear
may
my
wanna
suit.
post that, because you're gonna have 4 parks commissioners there, so it can be
Oh,
considered.
that's right.
I would post that as a
Will you be able to
workshop.
be there at
Right.
that time?
We have to
Yeah,
post,
I can be there.
Okay, then let's do that.
we have to post that as a workshop, and no decisions will be made in a workshop. That way we
Right.
can discuss things.
But that way the public's aware of it, if they wanna attend,
That's a
they
good point,
can,
Brian.
and-
Exactly.
And
So-
you don't run afoul of anybody accusing of
Good point.
OMA.
Are you gonna, you're gonna post that? for
I'll
us,
have,
right?
I'll talk to Lisa tomorrow about it, and
Okay.
we'll get it posted.
Okay,
We only have to post it 18 hours, but the sooner the better, that way
yep.
we don't become Facebook
And
famous.
it's a workshop, not
We already
it's a workshop.
That's excellent, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
One more question, with that,
Huh?
He has a question.
with that meeting, would it give us an idea, like a timeline wise, like how long it would take and?
Well, they'll be answering the questions, you know, like
Okay.
when it can start. The biggest thing about Rasberg, or taking this equipment is it's still early enough that kind of muck is frozen a little bit.
Right.
So we can get on it, because that's what stopped them last year, was it got mucky.
Right,
And we can't move the muck, we can only move the vegetation.
right.
So that's what that's all about.
Yeah, if we disrupt the soil, then we run into some different
We could ask them
issues.
to tear it down to get a view when it's.
There's a nice restaurant across the street in case we're cold.
With a crosswalk.
Yeah, let's show up at the brewery with binoculars.
Good meeting in February.
Yeah, that'll make the news.
Yeah.
That'll make the news.
Yeah,
Yikes.
oops. Any other questions about the SISMA?
Were there any immediate concerns about the recommendations that were made?
I don't have a question. Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank you all for this information. I'll definitely take a look at it a lot closer and then look forward to this upcoming meeting. Because it would be amazing to be able to address, that area. It certainly is a beautiful area. And once we get that done, wow, it's going to be really, really super nice.
It used to be a beautiful area, but it's gonna be beautiful again.
Even more again.
We'll invite
Does
Trump.
that sound familiar?
Yeah.
I would like to say that the whole, adding like the whole idea of a boardwalk and a fishing
Damn.
Yeah.
pier
Now,
or something like that.
If you look at this picture here, the Little Finger Peninsula,
Yeah, that's where the.
back in the 90s, we looked at a fishing pier that went out there,
Yep.
and it was teed, and that, we call that the Little Bay, and that's what we had, the DNR had okayed that, and it wasn't passed by council, so it didn't happen, so that little baby bay, that's where it's the closest to the property, it would take a less boardwalk. So that's what we're looking at, so.
Like I said, I like that idea, I like that put in there as a
That would be-
possibility.
that would be
so
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Okay, any more questions about SISMA? Everybody's gonna be there the 19th?
I guess
yeah.
so. It's gonna be a party. It's great. I love that this commission is very involved.
Yes.
We have good people.
Okay, let's move on to spring cleanup. I talked to Gail Pelton, because she is our contact person for ASP. And we got a date for, everybody write this down, April 26th at Waterworks, we'll probably meet at Waterworks Park from 9 till 3. She's got 30 people coming in. And that's where we'll start.
So straight away, we really need to work on soliciting for tools.
Yep.
And I don't mean rakes.
Well, we still need rates.
Yeah, but I mean, we need tools. We need a backhoe, we need a tractor, we need chainsaws, we need brush hogs, those kinds of, we could get the whole project done in the morning if we had the right tools.
Well, I don't think there's much left. We're gonna do our walkthrough before that. We'll probably do our walkthrough, this is gonna be April 26th, so probably around the 10th of the month. We should all get together and do a walkthrough. We'll walk through all the parks like we always do in the spring and set our priorities, because there's not much left to clean up at Waterworks.
No, and the
Right.
The person that bought the house there on
Right,
Sherman and
Hadley.
Broad, they cleaned up some of that area so that they had a view there too, so. At no charge, so.
And maybe with the SISMA thing is if we can get something settled with SISMA, we can start, maybe some of these people start at Ganshaw Park.
My thoughts too, if we have the right tools, we can spend the morning at Ganshaw or at Waterworks and then the
Finish that
afternoon
move.
at 30 people, you can get a lot done, but
We
not
did
a lot
last
that happens if you don't have the right tools.
Yep, bow saws, stuff like that, 'cause some of those guys aren't supposed to be running chainsaws.
Fair enough, but if we have
Yep,
the
bow saws.
equipment,
Can you see me with a chainsaw?
yes, 100%.
A
Kind of
little
a
one.
requirement on this commission. We all have to do with the chainsaws. Listen,
I have my
Gail's got
very
one's
own
about that
chainsaw.
big. Yeah, it works great for
This
me.
isn't a haunted house now.
I'll probably bring some tools from township parks, bow saws, maybe electric chainsaw, some nippers. So, and then DPW,
But-
we pick
I got
them up.
nippers.
When I was talking, what was one of the things that came up at the DDA Design Committee meeting? By the way, the group that's doing the garden,
Yeah,
I forget the name that they were calling that. A lot of those gardens are being adopted by landscape companies.
yeah.
And we can solicit to those landscape companies to maybe get involved with some of our parks cleanup
Yep.
days and bring that kind of equipment so that we can get bigger projects
Now,
done.
can you handle that through your design team and get some names and maybe schmooze some of these people?
Yeah, for sure. And we'll start advertising it on social media, which we've done in years past.
Yep.
It's been not very fruitful. But word of mouth is the best. If you know somebody who has a tool and you can ask them to please come and lend a hand, that's gonna give us the best response.
Because if we get between the fence and the lake, you're gonna need some rubber boots and some nippers and some, hand tools.
Ganshaw, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, Ganshaw, yeah.
I got nippers.
Okay, any more questions about walk, let's set up a date for our
I
walkthrough.
was just gonna say that, yeah.
You got your calendar ready there? We'll
I
pick
do.
up a date and a time. Usually we can get through a
3 dates
walkthrough
already.
within about 2 hours.
So if we're gonna do the cleanup day is April 26th.
Yep, from 9 to 3.
Okay.
And our walkthrough,
The
I'll get
12th
that.
would be 2 weeks before that.
yeah.
Do you know if the bathroom at Lakeside ever got painted
Yes, I believe we painted it right before and closed it up.
last season? Okay,
Yes.
great. Now, I know you switched gears and you were talking about the walkthrough.
Yeah,
But can I just interject as I'm putting the park cleanup day in my calendar? Last year, we split the day up into halves. And we had, instead of all of us trying to be there for the whole time, we split it up, morning and afternoon.
oh, for the actual cleanup, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
We had day shift, afternoon shift.
And we did have a little bit of issue with coordination of, turning over and making sure that the same projects kept running, with whoever it was directing was leaving but I did think it would be a lot better for me personally. It's a long day to be outside and it's a lot of hard work. But I would be in favor of splitting it again if you guys thought that worked well enough.
Or I stayed all day last year, because it was not that bad, because I also got real expensive winter gear. So it wasn't that nice a day. It rained, it was cold. So we can do a day shift and afternoon shift on the April 26th, so whoever wants to sign up for days or afternoons can sign up for that.
Yeah, so ASP, when we confirm that they're coming, we have to commit to the full amount of time that the workers can get their hours. They take a break halfway through, and that's a good break for us to make that transition.
Yeah. Usually at high noon, because it's, 9 to 9 to 3, so 9 to noon and noon to 3.
Right. Anyway, we can discuss that later, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to point that out, that maybe we should just
Okay.
bring that up.
What's the walkthrough date?
So Brian was saying
2 weeks.
12.
2 weeks
is
before. That's Passover, but that doesn't affect me.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Which days, are we
April
looking
12th is what we were talking about.
Is that on a Saturday or Sunday?
It's a Saturday. Sunday is Palm Sunday.
Yep, so that way we do Saturday, if everybody can do Saturday.
And then usually we try to start the walk through early, 9. And the walkthrough, when we're gonna walk through each park, it really is kind of involved, especially when we have new commissioners. Everybody wants to see, it's a good opportunity to see all of the parks. It's not really just pulling into the parking lot.
That's April 12th?
Okay.
9 o'clock?
Yeah, so I would, on your schedule, I would plan for at least noon on that.
Yeah, and we'll start at Waterworks and work our way through town,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. I was gonna say, did we all want just like
April
meet
12th.
somewhere and pile
9
in?
Waterworks
a.m.
at 9 AM.
Yep,
And
at Waterworks.
Is it
Waterworks?
like just pile into a car together or just follow each other? or-
We just, yeah, just follow each other.
Or we can always meet at the brewery again.
All right, so
Okay.
9 AM start on that, right?
Huh?
9 AM
9
start?
a.m., yep.
Okay,
And it only takes a couple hours to get through the parks.
that's fine.
We're looking for, what we wanna do, what we gotta prioritize. Okay, any other questions on spring cleanup?
Nope.
Moving on to closing public comment. Does anybody have a closing public comment? All's quiet on the western front. Okay, moving on to reports.
We talked about holidays and independence, fireworks. Also, just a reminder, tomorrow at the vault from 5 to 7 is the going away, party for Debbie and Jerry. The
Yeah.
outgoing administration, so,
Are they coming back
coming back where?
for the party?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes,
That's tomorrow
No,
at the
they're
vault
done.
from 5 to 7.
yes,
Should have done it before they left.
yes.
Everybody got that in their little notebook, 5 to 7 at the vault?
Okay.
At the vault.
Is that, what did you say it was, Friday or tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
Okay.
Tomorrow, Thursday.
tomorrow from 5 to 7. They got used to not being here on Friday, so.
Oh, right.
Anything else to report, Brian?
No, we talked about budget stuff, so we'll continue to work on that stuff and, we'll go from there.
Anybody have any questions of Brian?
Nope.
Is this the only report you're gonna make, or you're still gonna make another report on the other items we talked about last week, right? Like on the emails and things like that we
Oh,
mentioned?
the emails, there is a cost associated with that. So Debbie is gone, so I can discuss it with the new administration and then, what's that?
It can't be that much.
Yeah, nowadays it can't, it
Well,
probably has come way
there, I
down.
don't, because we use an independent IT company and that's who it goes through.
what
And you
you
have to
said.
set up Outlook and pay for that. Like I said, she just said there was a cost, I didn't get
I'm sure it's not exorbitant.
but if we do
fee.
it for this board, we have to do it for all our boards, so that's where the cost.
But it
is.
ought to be though. I mean,
Right,
you know, when
it
I
ought to
had an
be.
issue with managing the Ganshaw Park thing between DDA and Parks, I couldn't email the DDA board because their emails aren't posted anywhere. Well, neither are ours. Our emails are not posted anywhere. If somebody wants to reach out to the Parks Commission, they gotta call and bug Chris. And it could be so much more efficient. You could just email any of the commissions.
But, and don't take this the wrong way, but you guys don't have the ability to direct staff or change anything by, if a resident emails you and says, hey, I have this concern, you don't have the ability to
Act
answer
on it.
it.
And I think we
Right.
understand that. I think, at least I do. I understand that that's not my responsibility. I know my role. The purpose for the email was just simply for communication purposes.
No, and I understand that, and that's why I believe this commission set up emails through a free email service to do that. And then as members change, they didn't get updated, so,
Yeah.
I can check with the new staff, new administration to see what the cost is. but then it would ultimately come out of Parks budget, so.
No, I worked with Chris here on emails, so I can get phone numbers for our boards here. And she had a piece of paper, and I don't know how many people, 120 maybe? Would you say 80 to 100 people would have emails? And all the boards and commissions? Because you got ZBA, you got planning, you got historic, you got parks, you got council, and any other boards that I missed. And this is quite
Right.
a lengthy sheet of people that belong on them boards.
Yeah, but it's no different for any other municipality.
Exactly.
In fact, we're kind of a small we're a
100 is
small
nothing.
administration.
Yeah.
100 is nothing, Joe.
And the other thing is, I have emails through Township Parks, it's listed. But still, we get all of our information, the police show up at your house and give you your agendas and stuff. So even though everybody's got an email to get this, the police show up and
I know, but I don't think that's, at least for me, that's not what I'm talking about. I appreciate the police doing
Yeah.
that for us. But I mean, outside, you know, if anybody else wants to come in and send us, or I need to send, you know, one of y'all something, you know, again, it's, just know that it is subject to the Freedom of
FOIA.
Information and, you know,
And the
Act,
Open Meetings Act.
so, and the Open Meetings Act, so with everything, we have to be careful.
No,
But-
Case in point, I need to coordinate with Jane. I'm gonna have to get her personal email to do
Yeah.
that. And now I'm creating a liability for her because if she ever were to get FOIA'd for something parks related, that's her personal email that we're now discussing on.
We will have very little discussion.
Now,
But
Brian,
we will.
a
It's okay.
question for
I don't care if it's just my
administration
email.
is, did the new people on the boards get the packet that the village used to send out about emailing and all the ordinances about different conflict of interest? I had a packet, I saved.
Yes, when we
Yeah.
first, I don't know, did you get, I'm sure you did, when we were sworn in?
Right.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I wanted to make sure.
I don't,
they had
I
it.
wouldn't, I don't know that,
I got one last year or whatever it was I joined.
Debbie Bigger always hands out packets when she swears somebody in.
Yeah, I just wanted to check on that, double check, you
Joe?
know, that everybody got it.
Tim brought his, because they gave us this, we can check right now for you.
After the meeting, I'd love to take a look at that, and see what, because I haven't gotten one in so long.
You know, I don't think that we're any different than any other company or corporation. When I worked, we had the availability of everybody's email in the whole company, no matter what department they were in. So I got an email asking for something I didn't handle. I just forwarded it, copied the person that sent it to me and forwarded it to whoever was responsible for it. But we all need to be able to communicate with each other.
emails.
And we did get a copy of the Open Meetings Act.
Right.
Just for the record, so they did give that to us, so we
Good.
know.
Good.
And, but no, I'm happy that the officers come and drop off the information to us, that's fine. But it's for other things.
Yeah.
And, because like Sarah was saying, you know, once she sends me something, but I mean, hey, they're just gonna see all my purchasing, you know, stuff on my emails things, but it doesn't matter to
Well,
me.
that you don't have anything to hide is irrelevant.
No,
Yeah.
it's irrelevant.
And that's why with my parks email, you'll see a lot of things I bought for motorcycle parts. On my email, so yeah. Any other questions for
I digress.
No,
Brian? Anything else, Brian?
No, I will pass that along, that emails are still wanted, and
Yes.
go from there.
I think even if it costs us a little bit of money from our budget, I think it's an important thing that we should do.
I
We
don't
should
think that
get-
that should come out of each commission's, but I think that's an administration
I
thing
agree.
that council really ought to look at doing for all of the commissions, not just.
So
Well,
it's
someone,
just-
it has to be paid for somewhere, so.
Right,
if-
council should look at it, I think, and it should be administratively paid for.
Yeah, corporate wide, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
not just, it shouldn't just be parks, I'm saying.
Well,
we
no,
should
but
do
I mean,
all
each
commissions.
department, but Parks is, I mean, the planning commission doesn't have a budget, historic district doesn't have a budget. So, and Parks is general fund, so anything that is done administratively is done out of the general fund budget, so.
And Brian, I can assure you, working with local government all my life, we've always given emails to all the commissions,
right.
you know, that I've ever worked. It's not unique. All
I,
the cities
I,
do
I don't,
this.
I don't, I don't, it does not matter to me one way or the other. I'm just relaying
I
information.
understand,
so-
I just,
so-
please be assured, this should be a no-brainer, as they say, and this should be something that we should all get.
I will let them know that that's how you feel, so.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Chris, you have anything to report? Nope. Okay, moving on to Risa.
The only thing, the Shiawassee River Water Trail Coalition, I finally I had in touch with the people involved in it. They only meet quarterly. The next meeting will not be until March, and I doubt that it's going to be by our meeting time, which is the first Wednesday in March, so I probably won't be reporting anything until April. But I'm excited to be on it.
Good.
Good people.
Any questions for Risa?
No, just a thank you for putting up with my question.
Yeah, you'll hear from me later.
Sarah?
So the Adopt a Garden project, that's the name of it. That's coming along very nicely. They are adopting gardens in the downtown, in the DDA district, which includes some of our parks. So it'll be the parking structure, gardens, flower beds, shrubbery, things like that. They're all all of the different areas where things are needing to be tended to garden-wise are gonna be being adopted, receiving care. Anyway, that's going very well. Farmers Market, their winter market seems to be doing well. They're gonna be starting back up in May. And that's all I have, I think, for reporting. And then the SISMA
Yeah.
meeting on the 19th.
Yep. Tim?
Okay.
Okay. Jane?
Again, just, it's still a learning curve for me, so I've got a lot of stuff to learn, but I do appreciate everybody's time and patience with me. Sarah, I look forward to working with you on
Yeah,
this
for sure.
Independence Day event and holidays. And the volunteer gardens, they're beautiful. I've seen them, and last year's anyways, they were gorgeous. I wanted to steal some of the plants. They were so pretty, but great job. They look so nice. So no, I just, again, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Joe and Lisa and Brian for putting up with my calls as well and asking questions. So thank you so much. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
I forgot about the master plan that we were all given. So, and I guess this would be a query for Chris, maybe. Our master plan was actually, we submitted it in 2023, but it came back with a query, and we had to resubmit it. And it did actually get approved, but not until March of 2024. So does that mean that our master plan is 5 years from March of 2024, or would it be the original submission date?
That's a good question.
Kind of a big difference for a year.
Yes.
Maybe we could try to find that out.
Yes.
I was able to confirm with Debbie before she left. We did get it approved. It just kind of slipped through the cracks, and I didn't report that did get approved. And that's why we got the copy now, is this is the most recent master plan, and it should be for 5 years. So 2023 or 2024?
It probably should go by the adoption date, not the
Right.
injection date, you would think.
That's what I would think too. So anyway, just cross out 2023, March 22, 2024 is when it was approved.
So were there any changes between the original concept and the
No,
date
they
of
just
approval?
nope, they just
Okay.
wanted some information about some of our feedback. They wanted a graphing of our feedback, not just verbally.
More clarification.
Sarah, did you just, the adopted date, is that what you?
22nd, 2024.
Yeah.
Thank
that's-
you.
According to Debbie, that's when it got approved,
March 22nd.
2024.
Okay. Okay, my report, in your packet, or tonight on the desk, you got a letter from Holly Township Parks from our Parks office personnel, Mary Blanchard. And it's a discussion of what's happened out there. Jane came out and saw it. They had their machinery out there. They did some chopping out back. Then we had an old meadow out in front that got overgrown, and they chopped that also. So if anybody wants to go out and see what SISMA does, You can call Mary Blanchard, find out when she's gonna be there, and she videoed that on her phone. So you can see the machinery, what it looked like before and what it looked like after. Yeah, I mean,
You're fast.
they were out there for 8 hours with this giant piece of machinery, and if you had to pay for that, because we had the grant, it'd have been big bucks. So if you want to really see what happens to invasives, you go out there and look at it. But wait till the road gets better.
And
So that's my report out there for them. You can see that SISMA was in action. You can read this cover letter here for what SISMA did out there.
yeah, it looks really nice, very clear, and just watching their staff work, tremendous. The workers there were very experienced, and they knew what they were doing, and they helped us. It looks beautiful, very nice, very, very nice.
Nice out there.
Great.
We had 3 young ladies that ran that machinery. They were all cross-trained. So if one got tired working on that big piece of machinery, the other one took it. And the smallest lady was the fastest and the best, because that's what the other 2 said. But they're very professional.
They
And
were.
they said, they approached me, they said, well, you know, what do you want taken out? And we explained it, mostly invasive. They found a couple native crabapple trees. They goes, you want them out?
No.
And I said, no, we'll keep those, and they worked their way around it, so.
beautiful.
They're all informed on what they're taking out. This isn't out there chopping trees down, so. Very smart, very professional, SISMA. So,
Fantastic.
that's all I have for tonight, and,
Yes, today.
that was the board comments, and I adjourned the meeting at 6:48.
48.
Good meeting.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks everybody for coming.
It's cold out there. I think the bad weather's supposed to start like around 9. Like, that's what the television